The Miami Dolphins have signed former Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Mike Hilton, according to multiple reports. Hilton has spent his entire career with the Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals moved on from Hilton after 4 seasons with the team. The Steelers signed Hilton as a futures contract player before he broke out as the starting slot cornerback. That career has led him to a prosperous decade-long NFL stint, and that will continue with the Dolphins. Hilton played in 16 games for the Bengals in 2024, having 1 interception and 73 tackles. Always known for his ability to blitz and play downhill, Hilton was not a scheme fit for new Bengals defensive coordinator Al Golden's scheme, which caused the Bengals to move on from him. With the Dolphins, Hilton goes to a cornerback-starved team. They lost slot cornerback Kader Kohou to injury in practice, while another former Steelers cornerback, Artie Burns, will miss the entire season with a torn ACL. That, along with the Jalen Ramsey trade, has left the cupboard dry for the Dolphins, and Hilton should become a starter for the team, given their needs across the entire team. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed veteran safety Chuck Clark earlier this week to add depth to a light room, and general manager Omar Khan believes Clark can help in multiple ways. Appearing on The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio, Khan explained why the Steelers signed Clark. The other component of it is he's been a core teamer when he's had to. And I think that helps his situation here, Khan said. We just need him to come in and compete. Obviously, we traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, and we like the guys that we have. We like having competition. So he was out there, and he was interested. It just makes sense. Clark only played 9 special teams snaps with the New York Jets last season, but he has played a lot on special teams in the past. He logged 930 special teams snaps his first 3 seasons in the league from 2017 to 19 with the Baltimore Ravens, but those snaps went down as he took on a larger defensive responsibility. With the Steelers, he'll likely serve as a backup safety, at least initially, and it seems as if him having a role on special teams is in Pittsburgh's plans. LB Tyler Matakevich was a core special teamer when healthy last season, but he remains unsigned, and it's highly unlikely a return to Pittsburgh is in the cards. While the Steelers added players who can work on special teams through free agency and the draft, it never hurts to have multiple players who are capable of playing a role in that facet of the game. Of course, Clark could also prove useful in Pittsburgh's defense. He can line up at either safety position or in the slot, and his signing continues the trend of the Steelers adding versatile defenders. He's someone who's familiar with AFC North football after spending the first 6 years of his career with the Ravens, and as Khan said, adding competition is a good thing. Safety looked to be one of Pittsburgh's biggest weaknesses on paper after trading Fitzpatrick, and Clark can come in and compete with Juan Thornhill and Quindell Johnson. He's played with Deshaun Elliott, who called Clark one of his best friends, and his versatility makes him a nice piece to have as he tries to fight for a role on the team. Clark isn't a roster lock right now, but being able to contribute on special teams should help his case, making the 53-man roster, as Khan noted. Even though it's something he hasn't done a lot of lately, if he can prove to be a viable special teamer, he could wind up being an underrated signing. Through the first few practices of Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, Aaron Rodgers has had his ups and downs. However, there's no reason to put too much stock into any of his mistakes so far. He hasn't practiced with the team very much, and this time of the year is for making mistakes. Former Steelers quarterback Kordell Stewart isn't worried about Rodgers, thinking he elevates Pittsburgh's ceiling. You have someone like Aaron Rodgers, who's a future Hall of Famer, filling that void that we had, trying to find out who would be the next guy up, Stewart said Sunday on the Irish Steelers podcast. Waited pretty much the entire offseason, let alone the summer, not knowing if he's going to retire, if he doesn't come back and play. You have to take his veteran leadership into context to say that there's a chance that this team can truly compete within that division. If you think about it, with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, and not knowing for sure what's going to take place in Cleveland, it gives us a fighting chance to do something really, really good. Last year, the Steelers had more than a fighting chance in the AFC North. They were leading the division for most of the season. Unfortunately, their late-season collapse opened the door for the Baltimore Ravens to snatch the AFC North crown. However, they managed to compete in their division with a lot of uncertainty under center. They began the season with Justin Fields starting, but he got benched once Russell Wilson was healthy. Neither Fields nor Wilson was consistently good, either. It's a stretch to expect Rodgers to play like he did in his prime with the Green Bay Packers. However, if he can at least show flashes of his old self, the Steelers could be in a much better position within the AFC North this year. The Ravens look like the Steelers' biggest competition for first place in the division. As long as they have Jackson, they're dangerous. However, the Cincinnati Bengals shouldn't be overlooked. Their defense looks like it's going to struggle again, but their offense could be one of the best in the league. The Steelers are depending on Rodgers bouncing back from his poor stint with the New York Jets. If he falters, their chances at taking the AFC North crown won't be great. The Steelers' goal is to win the Super Bowl. Winning their division would be a good step toward achieving that. And Stewart believes Rodgers gives the Steelers a chance to do that. We'll see over the next few months if he's right or wrong. Pittsburgh Steelers starting left guard Isaac Seumalo was placed on the non-football injury list with a soft tissue injury, but it is not a severe injury, according to Jerry Dulock of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Dulock simply replied to a question about Seumalo's injury, asking if it was serious, and stated that it was not, meaning the veteran will likely return soon, and it will not threaten his ability to play in Week 1. Seumalo, who was the team starter in 13 games last season, did not practice that much during the spring, and third-year player Spencer Anderson will step in for him while he is out. Before being replaced by Mason McCormick, Anderson started in 4 games for the Steelers. Seumalo is coming off his first Pro Bowl, but only made it after multiple players pulled out of the game. He even acknowledged that fact at the end of the season. "I'm really only here because, 3 or 4 guys couldn't be here," Seumalo said to Steelers Now. "So, it's still really cool and an honor. But, I guess I'll take the 4th or 5th place here. I didn't have really anything else going on. It was snowing in Pittsburgh, so I thought I'd try to get some good weather." In his NFL career, Seumalo won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles and ascended from mid-round draft pick to sought-after free agent. Seumalo is 31 years old and was drafted out of Oregon State in 2015, so it was a long time coming for Seumalo. He worked his way up from a backup with the Eagles to a starting guard, and once he entered the lineup, he never gave up that spot.